I love Notion. It holds my life together, but dear God, mine is a mess. It works, but it's a mess. I also love aesthetic Notion tour videos, and I'll recommend some of my favourites throughout, given how many ideas I've stolen from them. But today, in the name of authenticity, I will show that not everyone's Notion is a beautiful, cohesive work of minimalist art. This tour is going to be real, rough around the edges, probably relatable, and definitely fun, so let's do it. So as we initially hop in, things don't seem too bad. We've got my Life Hub dashboard. This dashboard itself very heavily inspired from Unjaded Jade, so I'll link that along with all the other recommended Notion tour videos in the description. First glance, this actually seems pretty good. The first clue that things aren't all as they seem is this left-hand panel going down here. The dashboard itself is fine, but I only made that probably a few months after having Notion. I only made it a few months in. A lot of these are things that I had before and didn't quite know where to put in the dashboard. So going from the top, I had a sort of a to-do tab, which I don't think I even had before. I think I just made and put in the wrong place. That's an old project which I've ditched. Uni readings, that was the biggest thing I was using Notion for before I made a dashboard. And then the dashboard is just kind of chilling here. Christmas cards, I've still got the old getting started page from Notion, and I kind of don't want to get rid of it because I feel like it's nice having this here. I say that, I've not used it, but it's nice. I think I'll use it, maybe. This is what I mean. There's lots of things here which are going to be like, well, maybe I'll use it at some point, but I don't. I've had Notion almost a year now and I don't. There's this template that I downloaded, I think from MacLeod. I've not changed this tool. I just couldn't figure out where to put the template, and then I think I just created my own template because I couldn't figure out how to import it. Then we've got an untitled page here. I think every good Notion page has got an untitled page just kicking about somewhere. At least one. You know what? We'll get rid of this one. I think there's genuinely no reason for me to have this. Back to the dashboard. We've got the dolphin because dolphins are my favourite animal, though I'm not sure if they are anymore. I'm having a conflict of favourite animal. If you're wondering, toucans are coming up on the list. Oh, this video is going to be a mess. I have a Firewatch screensaver as my banner. I really like it. Firewatch is cool. It's such a great game. It's my favourite game that I've never played. This isn't a gaming channel. Right, back to it. On the whole of it, the dashboard is quite nice. A couple of these things might be blurred because I have a few secret projects and I don't want to give away everything that I'm doing. I'm not going to be that open of a book in a Notion tour. What do you expect? Okay, so let's start off with the continuous section, and we'll work our way down. Firstly is the daily check-in, which I don't use nowadays as much as I wish I did. This is like a little productivity thing where I try and set myself at least one thing to do during the day. I'm pretty sure this is inspired from Ali Abdul, I think, if I remember right. I can go in and create a new one, so 17th of June. I've got a little template here, and then I have to select the date separately to the title, but that's just me. And then I've got just a little thing of saying, hey, what do you want the highlights to be? Today, for instance, I can say, film the Honest Notion tour. And then I'll be able to take that up at there, and then any other bits and pieces. So I've got a cool friends later. Even though I wrote it down, I still forgot and was late. Then that I never use and that I never use because I've got a separate journal for that. But we leave it there, it's nice. I've got a distance run thing. Running, I didn't really go run. I did that running video a while ago. I'll link it up there. But yeah, running took a dip in spring. Either way, yeah, the daily checkin's fun. I do like it. I've actually got it linked in my phone as well. I've got a shortcut that goes straight to it as well. Not all of my pages have a cover. Sometimes I just don't feel like they need it, but this one is quite nice because it actually shows up on my phone as well. Yeah, it's good. It works. Let's go back to the dashboard. We're gonna now begin to reach the point where we discover that a lot of these sections are doors with nothing behind them. I copied a lot of these out from Unjaded Jade's video thinking, oh, I'll fill these in eventually. I have not filled a lot of these in eventually. For instance, the today thing I kind of was playing about with a little bit. I mean, the fact that this is titled today and then immediately this week, it shows I haven't used it as intended. I just used the daily checking instead, so I'll probably get rid of this eventually. Or maybe I won't. Maybe it'll just hang around. I've got a little link to monthly overviews, which I think is the next one anyway. Yeah, monthly overviews. Which I also don't use. This ended up being a way of trying to plot out what I needed to do week on week. But the issue is that I use my Google Calendar quite a lot. Like, that's where I like to throw in week by week stuff. So I tried it out. I think that's the thing with a lot of Notion tour videos. Take inspiration and try stuff from them, but if it doesn't work, don't force it, because you'll end up spending more time trying to force a system that doesn't work rather than actually doing the things that you've set the system up to do in the first place. So I just abandoned it and got on with doing stuff anyway. Like that I've read, that I nearly read, those I did, that didn't. And that, despite being in February, I finished 3 days ago, but that's fine. Yeah, so this is a relic. The May overview, did I use it? No, I didn't. This, I then was like, okay, splitting by month doesn't work, let's see if we can split by week. I think specifically this layout is inspired by Laura Medley, I'm pretty sure. I added this in recently and then I've not properly used it. I like my notepads and I like my sticky notes, I can always leave it out and it's always there, whereas with Notion, it's just so deeply buried that I never go to it. Yeah, this proves I've tried some stuff. I've copied lots of other YouTubers' systems and seen if they worked for me. Some of them have, some of them haven't. The daily check-in works well. Weekly and monthly planning, no. It just doesn't. I just use a combination of my Google Calendar and my analog notes, and that's me fine. But carrying on down here, we've got my people thing, which is basically just a slightly extended address book. I don't really use this, and I don't think I'm going to carry on using this. I think I'm just going to try and make an effort to keep a better address book in my phone. And then the perhaps one of the larger areas of inspiration from Unjaded Jade's video, which I put in here thinking, oh, I'll fill that out, and then didn't, is the career section. Again, we've got a link to people there. We've got companies and organizations of interest. None, apparently. Jobs and internships application timeline. Please hire me. And then overall career ideas and trajectories. Please hire me. And work experience, please hire me for these reasons, because this is what I've done. Career stuff is definitely an area that I want to flesh out, and I am keeping this because I know I'm going to work on it, but for now, I don't use it. And then we have the video section, which I'm really proud of this one. This is loosely adapted, I think, from Sarah Dici. I've also got a calendar view as well of when stuff is coming out. It means I can drag around the dates for these a bit. But yeah, this I actually really like. They're ordered by publish date and then by status. Oh wait, I can tick some of these off. That I can tick, that I can tick. Hell yeah. There's a lot of real estate over here which Sarah Dici actually had filled because Sarah Dici had collaborators and she had sponsorships. I don't have either of those. That could change eventually, maybe, probably not anytime soon. This is all I need and I actually quite like it, so I can do a new over here. Let's say I'm gonna review this book which I'm reading, The Future We Choose, in case you're wondering. New video, I can say it's an idea, YouTube, and it's specifically a review. Publish date, I'll leave blank for now. And then it's got a related to big projects, but I think that's just a dead database. Another one. So this is the database that I actually use properly and I'm really happy with. I really, really like it. Final thing, continuous, is a big to-do list. Again, inspired by Sarah Dici, is the urgency. So rather than setting a, this must be done by this date, what I quite like to do is set the urgency of it. So it goes from end of day, end of week, end of month, anytime. I did a poor job of explaining this, so I'm going to jump in on the voiceover. By setting an urgency rather than a specific due date, it means that if I have to push stuff back, which happens quite a lot because I overestimate what I can get done in a given time frame, it means I don't have to go through and shuffle back a load of dates. I don't have to go through and change them, and instead everything keeps its urgency. And besides, if something like a piece of coursework is absolutely due on a specific day, it's in my Google Calendar anyway, so that's fine. It's a good system, and I really like it. For an honest Notion tool, we're actually finding there are a few things that work in here. Okay, back to the mess. Let's do the learn, explore, and reflect. The Sea of Inspiration is like a secondary thing. This is again very heavily inspired by Unjaded Jade's video. So I've got a couple links because those are some things that I frequent, even though I don't actually frequent this page very often. A couple of odd little things to look up. Keeping track of some of my interests, which is kind of a nice thing to like have written out. Ideas down here as well of big geography related projects generally. Over here, life, it's a bit more of a mess, but I do quite like it. It's nice and simple to throw stuff in here. These are lots of really like helpful websites, blog posts, stuff that I could very well just bookmark, but I might want to access from a different place or at a different time. And I've got it in here because it's nice to have it next to the ideas. to see if any kind of links form in my head when I see them next to each other. Lots of people love to have so many individual pages for all sorts of like specific niche things, but sometimes it's easy to compartmentalize stuff too much. In theory, maybe a lot of these websites I could throw into the blog post section, but a lot more mental links are going to be made if I see my interests and some of my ideas next to the sort of the writing guide or the impossible list or like the website building ideas, science communication. It's nice to have that all on a slightly messy, sure, but all in one place, all on one page. So actually, maybe it's not such a mess after all. Visually it is a bit of a mess, but it works. It works, and it works in the way that I want it to, and in the way that my brain slightly weirdly works, but we move. So, up next in Learn, Explore, Reflect, we have my 2021 goals. Yes, I set New Year's resolutions, and they're going okay. We'll ignore that, but they're going okay. I've also got my journal. Before I had Notion, I used to do it in Google Docs. I had a whole folder of them. I made a new like Google Doc for each. I'm not going into my journal. This thing is basically my diary, so we're not going into there. Dream a little. It was like, if I have X amount of money, what would I do with it? It's the sort of thing that probably nowadays I would end up putting as a journal entry, but it stays there because I made it before I made the journal. Simple as that. And so it stays there. Travel and event plans, again, something inspired by Unjaded Jade, but it's been COVID, so this one's not been particularly active. Okay. My reading list. All kind of reading list, kind of a everything list. Bit of a mess. There's a few podcasts and TV shows thrown in here as well. We'll go to the book section. I think it's loosely inspired from Ali Abdul's reading list. It's quite nice to be able to just have the place to just throw the book recommendation into, and then if I get asked, hey Tristan, what do you want for your birthday or Christmas this year? It's like I can say, hey, this book would be great, thank you. So it's nice to have that big list. Will I get around to reading all of these? To be fair, I don't think it's beyond me to. We shall see. We shall see. You can definitely see a trend of all of the like nice pages that I actually use loads are favorited, so I don't actually come here into the dashboard all that often because I just skip to the stuff I use a lot up here. So we've got videos, listen, watch, read, like journal, daily check-in, all that kind of stuff is favorited. And then Tristan's Impossible List. The Impossible List is inspired by Thomas Frank, who was inspired by someone else, and I can't remember who, but I will find that out and put it on screen. Kind of like a bucket list, but a slightly more like goal-based bucket list, then like split up into like different topics and stuff like that. Again, the sort of thing that I made before I had the journal in Notion, and so nowadays probably would be put into Notion, but equally, since it's such an overarching thing and I refer back to it every once in a while, it's kind of nice to have it separate. Same thing with the Dream a Little, same thing with the New Year's goals, whereas the journal I don't tend to look back into quite as often, so who knows? And now the project section, which is actually probably what I come into the dashboard most often for. I'm not going to go into all of these because I don't think I can. What I can show you though is the commitments list, which is looking really empty at the minute because I've just managed to clear the decks of a lot of stuff. But basically, this is where I've got all of my different commitments. So for instance, at uni, I help out with lots of societies, helping out with Tom Cow with odd things as well. My own YouTube happens as well. If I take off that, okay, it's still filtering them by ticks, so ignore the ticks for now, but you can see I've got them ordered by what the commitment is. So when I have loads, I can split them down by what group, society, project, whatever it is I need to do the thing for. But then also over here, again, the urgency is turned up. And then also down here, basically just keeping track of like what commitments I've got versus what's an opportunity I can do. Basically trying to make sure I don't give myself too much to do as far as extracurriculars go. Okay, so what else have we got? That I can't show you, that I can't show you. That's actually done now, so I can get rid of that. That, I don't think it's got anything in. Yeah. Writing ideas. I might be starting a website soon and I might be starting a blog with that, and these are some loose ideas I had of what to write about. Really can't show you that, and that's also a dead project, but also I might try it again next summer, I don't know. It's nice having the projects in one place, but I can't show you what's in them because, yeah, reasons. Anyway, finally, university. I don't use Notion for university notes. Which I feel like is going to be a crime to say on YouTube, but no, I don't. I use Word docs. I'm very quick navigating around a Word doc, whereas Notion I'm not quite as quick with. So I don't actually use Notion for university notes, at least not lecture notes and generally not tutorial notes. But I do throw a few dissertation ideas in here because I'm going to have to think about that at some point, particularly this year. What I do use, however, is uni readings. I don't use Notion notes for lecture notes, but I sure as hell use them for book notes. You can tell from this, in fact, that this is, once again, kind of copied over from Ali Abdul's reading list, but I've actually changed it, I think of a lot. I can't tell. What I have done, though, is I've saved Harvard-style references, which is the referencing style I have to use. I've saved these for a lot of the books. Evidently not all of them. And I've also not finished all of them. I've not given ratings to all of them. Like, it's a little patchy, admittedly. Partly because I think I was reading a lot of these in a rush. Again, I've got the book template from Ali Abdul. Like, I don't use everything, and like the top quotes I've not filled in. But I do use it for book notes. That's the one thing I'll give Notion credit for, because I can kind of separate out the quotes. And it also means that I have kind of book notes separate to Word docs, and so it means it's a bit easier tabbing back and forth, at least in my mind. It probably isn't, but it is. So this is my big uni thing, and feel free to copy a lot of these ideas as well as far as formats go. Having the references over here has been great, though sometimes the formatting, trying to copy paste, is a little bit finicky. Having all of your uni readings in one place is really nice. You can pull from stuff you've done from tutorials. My main aim for next year, actually, you can see there's only one tutorial reading I've done here, is to add in a lot of my readings that I've done for tutorials. It's quite often I'll have to read a paper or two for a tutorial, but I tend to do my notes for that in Word doc still. That's my aim for this coming year, is to actually migrate those readings over in here. I want all my uni readings to be just in this big one place, because it's really nice, it's really useful. Going back to the dashboard, the other thing I recommend, just having a whiteboard. This is just my place to just kind of throw random notes that I just want to store for a bit. The sort of stuff that you would write on a whiteboard, but when you've been busy using a whiteboard, for instance, for a running challenge or something like that, just have a virtual one instead, and it works almost just as well, if not better. And finally, Green Film Festival, that's one of the committees that I'm on at uni. Basically, because I have to do more stuff with that one, it got its own page. Because, it's fun. I'm a co-director of it. It was too big to just keep in the little commitments list, and you can see even then it's the biggest thing in there at the minute. But yeah, I had to just start taking a few notes about stuff for my own sanity, basically. So, what have we learned today? Your Notion doesn't have to be perfect. If it works, it works. I'm personally just love favoriting stuff. I know, like, this dashboard is useful, but I just love favoriting the things that I use most often. I think everyone should. I think you're kind of weird if you don't. Absolutely take inspiration from other YouTubers, from what they've done. They've got some great ideas, but mesh them together. Someone's entire system probably won't work for your entire life as well, because ultimately you are different people. It's okay to try stuff, go away for a bit, and then come back. I think the weekly overviews and monthly overviews I'm going to try and probably go back to at some point. I think it's okay for your personal Notion to have lots of little like started things or stuff you're trying or things you tried but didn't quite work as a system. It's fine to have not filled out your entire Notion, basically. Another thing you've learned is that you don't have to compartmentalize absolutely everything. Have your interests, your ideas, and some random inspiring blog posts all next to each other, because you'll actually form some really great sort of links in your mind that you might not have done otherwise. So you don't have to compartmentalize absolutely everything. I would try and keep your databases up to date if you can, but also then equally, if you have like a few odd little gaps here or there, it is not the end of the world. Another thing that I've learned is that I don't know how YouTubers get through these tours without entirely oversharing. Like, I can't share a lot of these projects that I'm working on, and I've also probably censored a lot of the video titles as well, because I have some banging videos coming up. But I don't want people to steal the ideas before that, so, you know, that's reasonable. I'll make sure to link all of the slightly more aesthetic and put together Notion videos, which I mentioned throughout today's video, down in the description below. I know there's been a little bit of satire in here, but I generally love all of the creators who have made Notion videos, and so I highly recommend them. Go check them out, go show them some love. This has been an honest Notion tour by a geography student who makes videos from time to time. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope maybe it will give you a little bit of inspiration. I think there are some cool things in here. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter if you want. Subscribe for other videos and stuff. But yeah, I hope this has been fun, because this has been fun to record, even though I am boiling. It's too hot. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.